Okay. Just bear with me for a second so I can post this on socials. Okay. Post that on Twitter. It should automatically get posted on Discord, so we should be good to go. Alrighty, welcome back to BlauDev, everyone. Been a little while, but happy to be back. Okay, so today I'm going to be building this COVID vaccination scheduling app for web. Let me just adjust this mic. So this was something actually through work that we were asked to build. However, with Biden being president, the manner in which testing is going to take place now has changed, or not testing, vaccinations. So this actually project was pretty quickly discontinued. But nonetheless, we're going to mess around with it, and we're going to build what we would have built. And this is using Flutter Web. And so the basic premise is they're only vaccinating in this particular state. They're only vaccinating healthcare workers, 75 years or older, so elderly, and anyone who's 65 or older with health issues. So the idea is that you can only access the form and sign up for a date if you are one of those categories. So that's kind of what we're going to be working on today. I've shelled out just every single, the UI is terrible right now. That's what we're going to be focusing on. And the date selection aspect is not there. And so we need to find a plugin that works nicely with date selection, date picking. And Flutter actually might have some built-in ones that we can utilize. But yeah, that's what we're going to be building. So I'm okay with these fields. The ones I'm not okay with are birth date and phone number. And there's another phone number here. So these ones, we need to make sure that the text is formatted to look like a birth date or a phone number. And some of the things I can do, I think that'll immediately make it look a lot better, is if I put some hints in here. That'll probably make it look a lot better. The overall styling of this is just really bad. And so we're going to go through that. And the biggest thing I want to focus on is the date selection. So we have our, male, female picker done. Although, okay, yeah, that works. Thought I was having issues. But this is the biggest section that we need to work on. And what this is going to do, it's going to look at, we're going to have a database of locations and dates available. And there's going to be tranches of about 20 people who can go at those specific dates and times. And so it's going to have to connect to Firestorm and be able to say, okay, you want to go to this location on this date. There are this many openings left. So that's something that's going to have to take place. Probably today I'll only get to the UI. I don't think I'll actually have time to hook it up to any data. I'm only going to be doing this for about probably an hour this morning. I have some other things to get done today. But yeah, so let's just start there. So I'm going to add some hint text to all of these fields. Text field, decoration, hint text is first name. Hint style, we're just going to say Google fonts dot roboto color just white, and we'll let it keep the rest styled however we want, however it's defaulted to. Okay, and I'm going to do this in each of the input decorations. So this one is last name. And the only field that is optional from this, the only field that's going to be optional is the middle initial. And so I'm probably going to need to put a star of stuff like one of those little red stars above each of these fields, and then do some validation to ensure, that they have all of these fields filled out. And maybe I'll even hide this until they fill out all the others. I don't know. We'll figure that out. Phone number. His first name again. Middle initial. So this is the optional field. Last name is not optional. Birth date. So birth date is going to be one of the weirder ones. So I'm not sure if I want to keep this as just like a big text box or if I want to have like it show 3 distinct. Hard to say. Excuse me. So I think we're going to do like month, date, or actually let's do this. Month, day, year is what we want it to look like. Gender is already taken care of. Email. Email@email.com. Phone number. That's going to look something like. I think I want to have an area code sort of thing. So 01, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 1, 0. Yeah, so it's like country code, area code, and the rest of them. And we'll have to go back through here and add a formatter to these for phone number specifically. Okay, speaking of, let me just take this, add a phone number above. There we go. Place that. Gender, email, phone number. Reason for vaccine. Okay, I think we're good. So you can put your reason for vaccine. Okay, I need to change the color slightly. So that way it's even more apparent that this is just hint text. Just slightly. Okay. Window. Color hex. I want to get just like barely a shade off. Okay, let's try this with 1 and see how it looks. So we have first name, color, OXFF, color code. That's it right there, but that's not enough. Okay, let's just try the default gray. I just think it's too dark, if I remember right. Yeah, it just looks terrible. That's why it needs to be kind of subtle. It's too dark. That's what we just used. It wasn't dark enough, so let's try D8, D8, D8. And that's fine for purposes right now. So let's replace the color of each of these. Oh, what did I do there? Yeah. And for those that are just joining, so this is a COVID vaccination scheduling app that I was asked to build. But the rules changed for that particular state where this was going to be used, and that provider was no longer going to be using it. So the federal government is taking over responsibility for it. Anyways, though, we're still going to build it out because it's a good project to play around with Flutter on to get more comfortable with Flutter Web. So I'm happy to work on it. Okay, I didn't do the right side. Changes. How's it going? Thanks for joining on the stream. Yeah. Okay, that's fine. Let's change this background color only slightly. Forgot where I set that. It's this one. Is it? Let's see. No, it wasn't that one. Oh no, that controls the I remember now. That bottom app, it's this one right here. That one controls the app bar at the top. So I've actually added some authentication to this web app, but then I removed it temporarily, but there's a whole nother side to it that we'll get into in a little bit. This is just the initial form on the landing page that you would see. And then we're gonna add like a button in the corner for the admin to press so they can go to their dashboard. But that was to control the navigation bar on that admin dashboard. Okay. Let's find a variant of blue that doesn't hurt my eyes like the Flutter blue does. Oh, these are no better. Let's see if we can inch our way closer to a shade that feels more comfortable. There's honestly hardly a difference at all. No, we'll just leave it. Okay, let's do the following. Functionally, everything's good, but I want to add some formatting to dates, emails, phone numbers. And I know just the package to do it. It's the formatter package. I think it's called number formatter though. It's a number. Oh no, this is the one I'm thinking of. They have dates. Oh, but they don't have phone number. Let's see, multi-formatter. Okay, multi-formatter can handle numbers or phone numbers, card numbers, money. Do they do dates? Please do dates. Formatter. Credit card expiration date, but they don't actually do date. I'd prefer to use a single package, which this one might be. Ooh. This should work. I just tell it what kind of separator I want. I tell it when to include the separator, and I think that should work. Let's go to our pubspec.yaml. Give this a try. Go group buttons. Oops, that's not what I want. Let's start with the phone number right here. We have our text field. Let's just take a look at their example. Okay, they also did a text field. Okay, we're going to add the input formatter right below style. I'm going to import this. And we are going to force them, since this is a US based one. Actually, we aren't even going to do area code, or I'm sorry, we're not going to do the country code. So let me change this to look a little bit better. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 1, 0. Okay. Okay, perfect. What else do I need? Let's see. I think that's it for the phone number. Oh, I do want to do keyboard type for that. I want to restrict it to only numbers. And the reason for this, if they're on mobile, if I do this, it will make it so they get the number keyboard instead of having to click the special button, the bottom left button, and then type the number. It'll just pull open the number keyboard. If they're on a computer, it doesn't matter either way, but it's important that that exists for anyone who looks it up on a mobile device. And as of right now, this is only compatible for web. I have left blank the version that will be used for mobile. There's nothing in profile data small yet, but the whole point is I want to get this done on web and then move it to mobile, because this is intended to be more for older people, and they tend to use desktop over mobile web. But we'll do both. Not yet. Okay, so that was one phone number. We still need to do another one. So let's go back and find what we just did. Right here, we're going to change the hint text. I can do that. This right here. This is what we want to copy over. Birth date, gender, email, phone number. Okay. In the text field after style. And then we're going to change this to 012. Actually, let's make it the same. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 0. Okay. That's the only other problem though, is that it actually allows you to put letters. So we'll need to do some validation and ensure that they don't type letters. And if they do, we'll make it highlight as red with an error saying must be numbers only, or invalid number or something like that. Okay, let's format the date. Where's the birth date field? Right here. Let's go back to that package. Awesome, I'm glad you found that that video useful. I'll probably be doing some updated Flutterfire videos sometime soon. I'm also thinking of doing some AWS Amplify videos. So, because personally, I've been wanting to use Amplify more. I've only used it like one time before, and it wasn't even for Flutter, it was for Swift. But I want to use it more because I'm really comfortable with AWS. So I'll probably be doing videos on both of those all over again. And as far as the Flutter stuff goes with Firestore and Firebase, I'm like halfway done recording a course for that. So I'm not sure exactly when that'll get done. There's like a lot of different things going on right now, but eventually it'll get done, and that'll be another thing that you guys can look to. Okay, let's do this. So it looks like it's just the same thing basically. So under style, whoa, what's going on? Why is this not formatting? There we go. I want the separator to be that. I'm wondering, does it need to be X's? I guess it doesn't. Okay. Okay. Let's take another look. Birth date. Perfect. Yeah. So formatting is done. Email, we'll need to put some regex in there for validation to ensure it's a valid email. Okay, let's look at date selection. So let's see what kind of date picker packages we have to work with. Oh, so here's the issue that I'm thinking of. So the way that this is intended to work is the user picks a location. So I'll probably be from a dropdown. After they pick a location, it shows available days. Days where they can go in and there's still spots available to get vaccinated. Then they'd pick the day, and then it would show different hours of the day where there's still slots available. And so it may not actually be a date picker. It might just be a series of drop-downs that they select, and with each drop-down that's completed, we run a check and update the following drop-downs to show availability. And in the case that there's no days or hours available, in that case, we would just say, sorry, nothing available. And in the case that all slots are full for all locations and all hours and all days at the moment, we would just not show anything at all. It would basically show you this screen, but in place of reason for vaccine, it would say, sorry, there's no available slots right now. So let's do a series of drop downs. Let's do that. So let's go down. I've already done one drop down. It's this one right here, drop down button. But let's just put some temporary values for now that we can work with. So we'll just keep them all strings. It might need to be, oh, I'm sorry, this is going to be locations. We're going to have a list of strings, which will be dates, and a list of strings, which will be times. And the values of that will go on the list, they might change, like the data types, but for now we're going to keep it the same. So we're going to say Richmond, Arlington, Petersburg. And if you are familiar, these are cities in Virginia. For dates, for now, we'll keep it temporary. Obviously, all this data is going to need to be hooked up to the database, and it's going to need to look and say, okay, you selected Richmond. What dates are available within Richmond at that time? So we're just going to make some up. So we're going to say 01, 29, 21, 02, 0, or 12, 21. And for times, again, this is going to be contingent on the city, first of all, then the date, and then the times. And it's important to note that there'll have to be logic on the back end to restrict what dates are visible, depending on if those dates even have availability anymore. So chances are that tomorrow and the next day and the next, like probably about a week out, will almost always be booked. Would be my assumption. But so we'll have to have some logic there to do that. Times would be, let's do 12 p.m. Yeah, 12 p.m. should be noon. Then we have 12:20 p.m. 12:40 p.m. 1 p.m. Okay. And again, like I said, there's a lot of logic that's going to have to go on behind the scenes to filter out what cities are available, what dates are available, and what times are available. But for now, because we want to get the UI working, we're going to just focus on those dropdowns. The other thing we're going to need to do is do I'll put it next to the other one. Selected city. Selected date. And selected time. Okay. And what we're going to do copy that container. We're going to find right where I had under emergency contact. Right here. So instead of date selection, we'll go here. We'll paste this. And instead of reason for vaccine, this will be please select a city. Or a vaccination site. And instead of selected reason, this is going to be selected city. And in place of this, selected city. Oh. And instead of reasons, this is going to be cities. What did I call this? Locations. Oh. Okay. So, yeah. So with these dropdowns, you have to set it equal to the first one. So you have to have kind of like a placeholder value. Otherwise it thinks it's null. Well, otherwise it pretty much is null. There it is. Okay. Healthcare worker, please select a vaccination site. Okay. So let's see here. Expanded. We're going to repeat this 2 times. So locations, dates, and instead of selected city, selected date. Please select a vaccination date. Oh, this one's time. Vaccination time. Selected time. Is Flutter Web production ready? Technically, no. It's still in beta, but I have a suspicion, and it may be completely wrong, who knows, we'll see, that in March they may announce that it's on production. So hopefully it will be. We will see. I don't think it's anywhere close to being able to replace Angular, Vue, that sort of thing. Those are a lot further ahead than Flutter Web is. There's some issues that, specifically with performance, that Flutter Web needs to address. If you look at like the Lighthouse score of any website built with Flutter, unless it was very meticulously built, it's going to have a lot of performance issues. But it's pretty good overall. Like it works just as well as like a desktop or mobile app works. It's just there's some performance issues. So that's the biggest drawback right now. New to Flutter and was trying Flutter Web, having issues in async await. Seems it is not working for Flutter Web. Can you please help me out with this? So it does, async await should work. Probably the context in which you're trying to use it. There's probably something else going on. Hot reload to be working for Flutter Web. So I believe that, let me see right now. Oh, hold on. Something's breaking. Let's fix this really quick. And then we'll talk about that a little bit more. I think it's just times. Yeah, so that was hot reload right there. I just saved it and it just automatically updated. So if I were to make a change, let me see if I can pull these up side by side. So let's look at this, let's see, first name. Okay, so that was, yeah. But it does work similarly. So that's just me hitting save. It automatically does a set state on the app and rebuilds it. It's like that kind of fun functionality, the type that makes it really easy to work with. It's there. Yeah. Okay, so that was times. Vaccination time. This is dates. How's it going? Yeah, so I'm actually overall, I'm really happy with Flutter Web. It's been very good functionally. Everything works great. I can style everything nicely, but once again, the one downside, let me see. I'm not sure if it'll have a bad score yet. We're gonna find out. But performance is bad. On a very generic level, its performance is not all that great for Flutter Web. So this is probably going to give me some issues because it's doing it for mobile, it looks like. But okay, let's see. Let's see what the report says so far of our half complete. Performance is question. There was an error. Okay. But you can see here, speed index bad, total blocking time. Okay. Time to interactive. Like there's a lot of things. Yeah. Enable text compression, remove unused JavaScript. This is one of the big ones, is dealing with the conversion to JavaScript, because what Flutter does is it spits it out into a single file, just pure JavaScript. And it causes issues with SEO, it causes issues with performance. Suppose I have a login for my app, after which I navigate to other sections of my website. Then suppose I need to change some UI for those sections. I need to log in every time after hot reloading. Yeah, that causes issues. So what I typically do is I will put an extra button when I'm testing that simply I push it. It has some dummy credentials like hard coded in it, and it takes me right in. Otherwise, you get like what I'm doing right here. I have to do this every single time because this is what state is getting changed every time I save my file. See, so I save it, boom, pops me back. So in your case, I would consider putting like a little button in the corner for testing purposes that you can just click it and it'll automatically sign you in without having to type out everything. Excuse me. It's still kind of a pain, but that's actually, no. Depending how you set it up, that's one way. But if you set it up properly, I did this with this app. Let's see, up here, yeah. So I'm using the provider package. And basically what's going on is, where is it? Did I do it? I might have taken it out. Yeah. So basically I'm saying whenever this page loads, it says pull the current user. If a current user exists, like someone's already logged into the app, then I want you to continue on to this page instead. And so using the provider package, I can basically say, like, is there an authenticated user? And if there is, it'll just skip those first screens. Yeah, so I remember I have another application. Let's see if I can pull it up right now. Actually, I'm not going to pull it up in this one. Hold on. Let me close out of this. Pull up in a new Chrome tab. So I've got another app that I built with Flutter Web. I'll shut up and tweet, and you saw what happened there. I'm already authenticated, and so it just sent me right into the app. And this just has information on Twitter stuff. But if I wasn't authenticated, bring me back here. But if you're authenticated, even when you're testing, it'll automatically just send you right into the application. And so that's one way that you can get around that when you're testing with Flutter Web, is just to make sure you have something that's checking the authenticated state of the user. And you'll save yourself a lot of headaches that way. In my case, what I'm doing right now, it's kind of unavoidable having to click that drop down. Actually, no, it's not. I can set that initial one to something else for testing if I don't want to have to deal with it, but it's whatever. Building a full-fledged app, I am good with front end, but there may need work on the back end. Can you please tell me how I should go with provider or Riverpod as it is endorsed by Google? Or should I go with other state management tools? Yeah, so this is like the hot topic in Flutter right now. I mean, it's getting better because they're all great and they all got good support and they all work properly and everything. I typically stick with provider unless it's not going to work for my needs. And so I've used Block in the past. I haven't used Riverpod or GetX, so I can't speak to those. But I've heard good things about them. I've spoken with Tadas about them before, and I know he likes them. So like there's certain, yeah, basically I would just use what you're most comfortable with unless you feel that it's not going to work for your specific use case. In that scenario, explore some of the other ones. But there's no like correct or proper package or a proper state management tool to use. Like they're all great. They all serve certain purposes. I would just do some research on, you know, what the needs of your project are and what's going to work. If you talk with most people, though, I think, so provider was like the first big one that we have to utilize in Flutter. And as far as I know, like 80 to 90% of projects can operate perfectly using provider. Some people use other ones purely for preference. Others use it because they need to, but you can get by with provider in like 80 to 90% of scenarios, I would say. At least that's how I see it. I could be totally off with that, but again, I would just figure out what your needs are with state management, see what packages work, and then pick the one that you're most comfortable with. Don't try going into something new just for something new. No, I mean, you can but if this is like a project you're really passionate about and want to work on and do well with, I would pick something that you're comfortable with. Oh. Okay, so these drop downs work fine. That'll work. Now I don't want to show. I want to show them one at a time, or like gray out the other ones until the above ones are selected. What we might do. Let's add this value in at the top of each one. And then we'll basically say, that looks bad. I do want it to default. But we could put something in here that basically says, if they haven't like clicked this at all before, just to be sure that's where they want to be, don't show the next one. But then if the default one is the one you want to go to, that could cause issues. So maybe we do just click the top one on each list every time. And then we won't show a city if there's nothing, no dates and no times available. I think that's what we'll do. And then we're going to need to have a button here that says schedule. And then, yeah. Thanks, man. Thanks for subbing and watching the stream. So let's see here. Select a vaccination site. Please select a vaccination date. Please select a vaccination time. Boom. End of container. Size box. And then we'll put a trying to think how I want to do this. I want to put a button. I'm just trying to think of how I'm going to want to style it. We're going to put a container with a material button inside. Okay, little placeholder. The container will do decoration, a box decoration. We'll have a color, colors dot. Let's do the color that we use as the canvas. It's just like a slightly darker. Okay. Let's give it a border radius. Border radius dot circular 15. Okay. Add some styling to the text. What do I do? We're going to add some text styling. We are going to, on the container itself, give it a width of screen size dot width divided by 4. Be too big. 4/5. That's good. And then we'll let the height adjust based on the text. For the text, let's give it a style of Google Fonts. .roboto. We'll do a color of colors.white. A size of 24. And maybe we do want to add an extra height inside. Let's do this. Let's add a padding. And let's add a padding of edge insets dot symmetric vertical 5. An error somewhere. Yeah, that's good. Okay, so the form is done. This is all the information we need. Functionally, it works. Data is not there for these dropdowns, and obviously the button does nothing. But other than that, it works. I'm thinking we get a little bit better with the UI. Maybe that's not super important right now. Let's add some text form field controllers and some other values that can capture the inputted data. And then we can work on sending that into Firestorm. We'll create some Firestorm methods to input that data. I haven't really given much thought to the structure of how the user submitted forms are going to work, but we'll get there in a second. So we're going to need a lot of text form field controllers. It's getting a little bit messy, but so text form, or no, text editing controller. We're going to have emergency first name. Okay. So we're going to have 3 for the emergency contact. Emergency first name, last name, and phone. Then we're going to have first name, and I'm going to add this. I mean, it makes it a little bit longer variable names, but this will help me just make sure I'm dealing with the right variables. Okay. So first name, middle initial, last name, birth date, email, and phone. I think that's all of them that I'll need. So let's go down. First name, controller is going to be emergency first name controller. Last name controller is going to be emergency last name controller. Phone number, emergency phone controller. Okay, let's keep scrolling down. First name for the left side, controller is going to be first name controller, middle initial, and that reminds me, we still need to do form validation. Controller is going to be middle initial controller, last name, birth date, ooh, not custom painter. Gender, we are capturing that, I believe. Yes, with the checked value. Email. Phone number. And I don't have too much longer, and so I think what we'll do next is create the Firestorm method, just so we can mess around with that a little bit. And I'll come back through and do some validation in my free time, because that is kind of a bore to watch, I feel like. Okay, so views, util, we'll add it to util. We'll call this Firestorm methods.dart. Future, for now we'll leave it as void, and we'll call it submit form. It's gonna be asynchronous. Gonna take in a lot of values. We're gonna have a string first name, string last name, actually string middle name, string last name, string birth date, and I'll write these out later. String email, string phone number, string emergency first name, string emergency last name, string emergency phone. Any other values that I'm missing? First name, middle name, last name, birth date, email, phone number. Oh. String gender. Oh, reason. Duh. And first visit location, because people will need follow-ups. First visit date, and we'll have to store this information. We'll have to store this information somewhere else as well. It's not just on the user's form that we store it, but also within the table or object that's going to control the list of available times and that sort of thing. Like, we're going to have to store it there too. I'm not really sure how that's going to look, but I do know that we're going to have a place with just the forms of all the users. That way, if the user themselves needs to go and actually not even the user, that this will probably be where we pull the data for the admin to see for all branches that they're doing vaccines. Anyways, let's keep going. So there's no authenticated user. So we're just going to store this under a collection on the root level called users. So we're going to do Firebase Firestore, import that, dot instance, dot collection, we'll use capital U, dot add, okay. And we are going to add several fields, one called reason. Yeah, this is a lot of values. This particular, the particular company that I was originally building this for, they needed to capture a lot of data on users because obviously people are going in for a vaccine, so they need to know a lot of information. And given that it's COVID and there's other issues such as like age and your job and all that thing that they needed to take into account. Yeah, there's a lot of data that they need to capture. BD, birth dates. Yeah, I'm gonna need to change up these variable names because I can't even understand them. Gender. Email, phone number, emergency contact. There's no reason these should be all concatenated. Okay, emergency contact first name is going to be EFN. And actually, let's save myself some time. Emergency contact last name, ELN, and emergency contact phone, ePhone. Then we have first visit location. First visit date. First visit time. Okay, that is a lot of information being captured. Okay, so actually let's I need to refactor these, otherwise it's just going to get a little crazy. Better now to practice good conventions than not understand what these mean later on. Birth date. Okay. Last one. Okay, we're good. So that method's done. Let's go down to our button. Asynchronous. Oops. Asynchronous. And we're going to say await submit form. Yeah. Oh, dang. Okay. Reasons. So we want to do selected reason. For first name, we want to do first name controller.text, middle initial controller.text. Let's scroll to the right and put a comma at the very end so that this will appear a bit better structured. There we go. Okay. And before this happens, I'm probably going to have a different method that's going to ultimately call this. That's going to do some validation prior. Or we'll handle the validation. No, we'll need to do it here. Or each individual form field will handle its own validation. We'll see. Oh, what did I do for this one? Selected. Oh boy. There it is, male, female. So this is under underscore checked. Underscore checked. Oh crap. No, that's not it. Oh, okay. No, that is it, but it's going to be at index 0. Okay. Email controller.text. phone controller.text, emergency first name controller.text, emergency last name controller.text, emergency phone controller.text. First visit location is going to be selected location, selected city, selected date, selected time. Wow, that was a lot. So let's just do a little test here. I think I have Firebase set up. That's not my email, just FYI. Okay, let's check. Okay. I don't actually know if that worked. Let's see. Let's pull open this project in Firebase. Sorry, just pull it to the side for a second. Okay. Firestore users, perfect. Okay, so it all properly submitted. So now it's just a matter of form validation, creating a collection in some manner to identify what locations, dates, times are available for vaccinations, and hooking them up to those last drop downs. So that's probably the next steps. There's a whole other side to this app, which is like an admin dashboard where the admin would get to see all users who have been vaccinated and haven't, so that they can, I guess, modify information on there. Like they can push emails to those users to remind them of upcoming visits, because you're not just getting a first vaccination, you have to get a second one. And being able to manually add in additional people. So if they have a clinic and they want to add someone on behalf of that person, they could manually insert that person into the next available time slot. So there's a lot of stuff on the back end that needs to take place for this to truly work and be functional and to hand off to someone. But from a form functionality standpoint, this is done. The form works properly. It's just this information here that needs to be hooked up. And obviously we need to do some validation because this is not valid information, clearly. So there's some things like that that need to be taken care of, but that's something for another day. Thanks for joining on the stream, guys. And I hope you have a good rest of the weekend.